Hi, I'm Sean, and this is Sean for Help. Thanks for coming. If you're a first-time viewer, have a seat, take a listen. I'm going to be discussing today about how some people just feel it's their way and no other way about things. It's going to be in conversations or even in actions. If you're talking to somebody, it's actually really simple to deal with this. So they think that they're right all the time. It's an interesting thing about know-it-alls. You can't teach them anything because they think they know it all already. So there really isn't anything you can necessarily do for that if you're going to try and do statements. But what I said to this person who pretty much talked about this with me briefly about what do you think you could do, etc., is you can take a stance of, instead of making statements, you can ask questions. Because it boxes things in when you both agree. Especially when you're asking questions, well, you said this was this, so are you saying this? And they agree with it, and then you know, okay, so you've agreed to this, and this is what this was. Okay, but being that I've studied as a paralegal for a while, I've learned never ask questions that you don't know the answer to already, at least in the beginning, because then afterwards, once you get to some of the other subtleties of things, it sometimes requires asking questions to find out things. You want to be able to nail down something, though, in the beginning to get a mutual understanding about where things are at. That's a very important thing to look at. You have to focus on the idea of we have to find some mutually agreed ground to get ahead. You can't go forward without it. So, if you're going to have a conversation with somebody who thinks that they're always right and they've always got this, and there's no way you can tell them otherwise, etc. And again, you have to come to the understanding that you may not be able to get through them regardless. They may just want to absolutely flat deny. It's like some people who believe the Earth is flat. It's not for me, I guess, but that's okay. I believe in a round planet. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But this is where asking questions comes in. If you ask questions, you're also the one who's actually in control of the conversation. Okay, so you're going to tell me that you think that you're always right about this, and this is the way it is, and no other way. Okay. So how's that working for you? Kind of attitude should come out of you. You really should, because there are so many different ways of doing things. So you should have the stance of, okay, so I know I'm dealing with somebody who thinks that they're always right. Usually this can also come down to the fact that people are doing this because they feel out of control in their life, and this is the only way that they feel like they have control, which is not true. You actually have less control, because at that point in time, if I present something that's completely false to it, you get upset, and then you lose your mind and your cool. There's an interesting point to this, and I'm going to show you something that I've taught a few people here. I've come to that point where, like in an argument, where women say they're always right. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I've been married twice now. This is my second marriage, and she's amazing. I love my Amber to death. Those who know me from Cab 7 live stream have seen me break down on there as I'm trying to sing a song to her because I love her so much. But to get past the point of having that war of the sexes thing, I did something that equaled the playing field for both of us, because that way we both got on the right track, and that is, I learned from a very wise man a long time ago. Learn how to say, I can be wrong. It's true. I can be. And here's the second part that came about after finally getting to the point where I'm now married a second time. Because I didn't go out and get it right on the first one at all. No. Failed miserably. The second one is really simple. I can be wrong as long as we both get to the truth. Because then we're both right, and who cares? Because at that point in time, it doesn't matter about who's right or wrong. It's about getting to the truth is what we want. Because we want to play games about who's right or wrong, you already lost. Because in a marriage, or in even a relationship where your boyfriend or your girlfriend, or however you have the relationship set up, boy, if I can talk, no matter what happens, you're trying to basically live together in a way that's mutually agreed upon as a good thing. You're supposed to lift each other up. Even in bad times, you're supposed to stick together and lift each other up, not tear each other down. So I can be wrong as long as we both get to the truth. Then we're both right, and who cares? It's a great statement. I highly recommend, if anybody needs to say it, now's the time. And that whole garbage of, I mean, it's a joke. I get it that women do that. Well, we're always right. Well, okay, that's fantastic. We both know that's wrong. And of course, we all hear the statement, happy wife, happy life, or, happy spouse, happy house. It's another way of saying it for those who have, other types of lifestyles. But I do have to say that there are times where I don't care if you think you're right or not. Doing what you're going to suggest is more detrimental than what I was suggesting. And just because you want to be right isn't going to get us far. So like I said, let's just get to the truth here. Because know-it-alls and somebody who says it's their way or no way, well, you know what? That might be the time to also say, it's time to go. Toxic relationships can be ugly. But again, if you can and you're in a conversation, ask questions. Somebody's saying that, well, this is what I heard and this is what it is and this is how we're going to do it. Okay, so you didn't bother to ask me about it to see whether or not I was intelligent enough to put in a good response to maybe show you something that you missed, because these facts could hurt you. And I mean that because you're going to go down this path to do this one thing you say that's fantastic, but these other things are absolutely going to destroy everything what you're thinking about because you didn't take in all these facts. You just like the idea of this, I understand, but I'm trying to make it so you don't get hurt. Are you willing to listen to this, or do you think I'm just BSing? Because if you think this is crazy, I'm going to go let you do that, but I'm not going to be part of it either. Because if it's your way and no way, I guess it's no way. Good luck. Sometimes it's time to move on. But have the conversation piece of using questions to box in the facts, so that way that you can absolutely say yes or no to certain things. Now, there are areas where you do have to expand on. So you're telling me this, but I don't quite understand. Are you saying this? And they can say yes or no. No, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Oh, okay, because I misunderstood then. See how that worked? The same thing is like holding up your hand to say, well, hold on, I'm still talking. Trying to give them an opportunity for them to, be fair in the conversation. But don't overrun them either. Give them the opportunity too. Being responsible adults is what we're supposed to be here. Doesn't always work, but, we try. And so if you have a point to be able to ask those questions, you then maintain power over this to say whether you do or do not want to be involved in this. Because if you go along with something that they say and felt bad about it, there's nothing you can do. You can't take that back. You put your foot in it. Go forward, and there you are. But you consented to these things, and this is why asking questions allows you the opportunity to make a smart decision yourself over top of whether or not this person's going to run the show or not. You have to understand, are you consenting to let them run the game? And you're not satisfied with it anymore, but you still let them do it. How about no? How about yes? Depends upon how you want. This is what you like, I guess, but I would rather allow you the opportunity to have your decision making for yourself to be in the most healthy way possible. Again, asking questions is a great thing. I love it because there are people who try to throw me a real loop, and I just look at them and go, yeah, you can't BS a BSer. And I'm going to tell you no. Well, don't you understand this is going to be, yeah, let's stop there and no. And here's why. And I'm done with it because I've already asked you enough questions to realize that you're full of it. Because you can't get past what I said. You can't even get past your own what you said because the question I asked boxed you in. I'm very good at that now. I know how to ask questions that box people in. It's very uncomfortable when you have to do it in a way that because somebody's just being rude and nasty, especially when you have to deal with politics. Oh boy. There are some people who just don't get it, but you box them in with questions, and then they realize that logic is a necessity. It's an absolute. And so in order to be able to make the best decisions for yourself, you should be asking more questions. If you have to ask me a question, ask a question. Please. I would gladly answer it, because I know I'm comfortable enough to be able to go, well, I see what you're saying, and I see how you'd be upset with this. I'm still going to go forward with this, and if that's not for you, then I appreciate that. But I want to make sure I'm doing the right for me, too. But if this is not for you, okay, I get it. That's being responsible on the opposite side of things. But again, if people want to sit there and say that they want only to do it one way or the other, and you have to make a choice, and they give you an ultimatum on everything. This also means then that you're in a situation of perpetual mental slavery. Who said you had to let them run your life? I mean, if this is what you want and you're not comfortable with any other way, there are people I've met that do that. That's fine. I have nothing against it if they feel that I can't make these decisions in life. I want somebody else to deal with it. I'll take care of the house. I'll do this. And it was a guy who really let the wife run the show. And he was just so whatever. He'd had some bad traumas, and they were so traumatic that he decided he wanted to be the house husband. I don't want to deal with it. She does whatever. I'm happy to do everything here at the house. I'm good. And he did that. That was his thing. Totally respected him for it. But when you're in a situation and you feel like you're stymied, like there are a lot of stories you can go back on, and God, there's even been movies from the 60s and 70s that, where the wife was just so disgusted that she left her husband because he was so abusive. There were men who left their wives because they were just running the show, and the guy couldn't feel like he could do anything. He couldn't even hang out with a friend to go fishing. It happens with everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. That maybe it's time, when you have that, it's time to move on. And if they're not willing to listen to you, if they're not willing to give you room to be you, and it's all or nothing, and you have no rights or responsibilities to make a decision equal with each other as partners, then it's not a partnership. It's not a marriage. It's not a relationship. It is a form of master-slave, and that form of relationship is not a good one. We already have that with a majority of the government, where you work and I eat is going on a lot. So I don't think that this is a wise decision if you're down that. If they're doing it to where physically you have no choice, but this is that, get out when you can. If it's that unhealthy, get out before it becomes a domestic violence issue. If you feel like you need to know more about this and whether or not, get counseling. There's nothing wrong with that. And this is coming from a guy. There's nothing wrong with getting counseling, because sometimes we're so close to the issue, we can't see it. Go to couples counseling if you can. If they're not willing to hear it, it's probably, again, it might be time to get out, bail. Just say this isn't going to work. And if they won't let you leave and they're going to be violent about the whole thing, you're right in the decision to leave in the first place at that point. Really, you are. But if you want to be able to sit there and deal with somebody who's all or nothing, ask questions. If you can box them into the conversation, you can show them that, look, I understand why you're doing this, but I don't agree with it, and I'm not going to do it that way, because it's against what I think is right, or what I think is going to be best for us. Notice the us at the end, because really, if you're not in it together, and there's no trust, and they're making it to where it's their decision only, trust has been thrown out the window. That's not a relationship. It's not a healthy one. So I'm going to leave it at that. We'll take it from there. I want you to consider seriously, anybody who does that, know that you have a right to believe and do as you feel that you need to in the best way that's beneficial for you and your family. You really need to think of it that way. You absolutely have every right to feel that you got to do the best way, because what I do may not work for you. And if you're going to go do something else that works better, then please do that. If it makes you happy and it gives you and your family peace, go do that. But if somebody's saying no, you can see where this is going. I don't want you to sit in a situation of slavery. And slavery is as simple as just the idea of, hey, I just basically let this other person tell me how my life is going to be because I'm living with them as my spouse or partner, or however you want to take it. So many crazy words out there that people don't understand. It's just a simple relationship. It really is just simple. Just have a relationship. If you're having a relationship, just do it. But if you're in a one where you're being controlled by the other person, you need to get through this as quickly in your head. That is control in the wrong way. My wife and I have two different paradigms working for ourselves, because when I leave the house, she is the mother of the home. In other words, what her word stands as law. If one of our children was here and acted up and she says, hey, I'm not having it, and then she says, wait till dad comes home, then I'm basically the arbiter of the executive privilege to tell them how it's going to be, because mama said so. She tell you to do your chores, she clean your room, that's different. But this is where I allow her the control and the power over the house. because it needs to be that way. She is 100% that way. Now, does she come off and give me control? Yeah, because if there are certain things and they're not going her way, then I'm the one who comes through and basically backs her up. That's being a partner. That's support. But when it comes to anything outside of the house at all, somebody's threatening, what we do here, then I come in and I stand in. I'm the one who says how it's going to be. This is how this is. No, we are not inviting these people over. I don't want them in the home because they're going to cause problems. Or I'm going to tell my neighbor, hey, can you calm it down here? You're making a lot of noise. You see where this is going, how the money in the house comes in, things like that. I control that enough to where I'm the law on that one. This is where we're going with it and why. But if there's a problem, like, look, I need to ask you, dear, what do you think about this before I act on this? And I'm going to ask for her advice. This is power sharing. This is how it's supposed to be. Equal shares of both sides of things. And so anything outside of the house that goes on has to do with the government, has to do with, paying, any kind of taxes and fees, anything like that, the garbage service, etc. If I got to go take the car in, if we're going to go grocery shopping, anything like that, I'm the one who makes the decisions there. But if anything in this house happens where it gets kind of crazy and she puts her foot down about certain things, I let her have the power. That's a healthy relationship, because we both gain off of that, where I give up my power to her to do that, and then I just ask questions and say, well, what do you think? And let her make the responsible choice, and then she does the same thing to me. I don't control her. I can't make her stay. If she wants to leave, she can go. Same thing with me. If I didn't want to stay, I can definitely go at any point in time. But this is how you share power with each other. And the person who has, and this is the biggest power grab here, if people are wanting to do this game, don't get caught into it unless you're the one who has to put your foot down about it. The one who has the ultimate power in a relationship is the first person who knows they can leave. And both Amber and I know that at any point in time, we can leave if we really want to. Nobody's going to make either of us stay. If one wants to go and the other wants to stay, it's up to us. But we're kind of crazy about each other so much that we're not going anywhere. But that is the truth. The ultimate power in a relationship is the first person who knows that they can leave. They are the one who has the biggest, greatest power in the house. It's not healthy by any means, really, if you have to go down that route. But it is true. Anyway, if you liked the video, please press like, if I can talk. And if you'd like to hear more in the future, hit subscribe and then smack the bell for notifications. Hopefully they work. So that way, anytime I put up a video, you get to catch it. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you in the future. Again, comment down below. And for those who don't believe in God, I say love and light. For those who believe other, or they have some other faith that's going on, namaste. For those who are Christian, God bless you. We'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.